Lender Standard Bank says it's ready for the challenges to traditional banking. The bank released results today reporting a 1% rise in profits, but it says it would have been much better if the measure of headline earnings had not been used. And investors do seem happy Standard Bank outperforming on the market today. Well, earlier I spoke to one of the joint CEOs, Sim Tshabalala. I started by asking him about customer service because there have been complaints from several customers about Standard Bank's recent move to freeze accounts to ensure that customers come forward to FICA. It also came last among banks surveyed in a recent index on customer service. But Tshabalala defended their record.
All of that is true. I will not argue with you on that. But let's deal firstly with the FICA issue. The client, as well as us, have a responsibility to make sure that our transactions are safe and sound, and we have a duty to preserve the safety and soundness of the system. The country's laws and regulations on Know Your Client are strict, and they are calculated to prevent inappropriate conduct in the financial system. We both have a duty to meet those obligations. So clients have a duty to provide us with the documentation when it's due, and we're obliged to keep that documentation safe and preserved. We often fail in instances where we have been given documentation. We sometimes lose it, but by the same token, clients often move and they don't inform us. So this is a joint responsibility.
So I understand it. I guess they were complaining about the lack of warning, things like that.
And I must apologize to people that were not contacted, but there were massive campaigns to alert people. We generally phone people well in advance before we suspend their accounts. We send people SMSs. We even send letters. And so in that process, things do fall through the cracks, but the overwhelming majority of people are compliant. So that deals with Know Your Customer. You made a statement in respect of our financial performance. We were flat, 1% up on our headline earnings, but IFRS requires us to deal with what we call discontinued operations. So when you take out the discontinued operations, which are the operations outside South Africa, our continuing operations are 20% up. And South Africa is an important component of that. The third issue on innovation, I would say to you, yes, we do need to innovate. We do need to deal with you as a segment of one. We do need to know your needs. We do need to know your demands, and we need to respond appropriately. And I would propose that we are spending billions of rands on refreshing our IT system, our back end, and we are refreshing our front end. We now have an app, and there are many other things I could refer to in that context to say, yes, the charge is correct, but we're addressing it.
Well, one of your advantages is your strong presence in Africa for corporates wanting to extend across the continent. Let's talk about Africa. It was the next best thing. Now we see growth rates slowing down. Some countries hard hit by the decline in oil. Are you still feeling secure about having your eggs in this basket called Africa? And with that advantage, why is your corporate and investment bank, the headline earnings there are down?
Yes, they're down 23%. Our purpose as a financial institution, we define it as Africa is our home and we drive her growth. So those eggs that you're referring to shall be fried in Africa, in our kitchen. So that's the first purpose. The second one is commodities are a big driver of the African economy, and you're making reference, I think, to the decline in the oil price, which is a material negative impact on Angola and Nigeria. But having said that, if you look at the response by the authorities in those countries, it's rational, and it gives me hope. They've introduced fiscal rectitude, they've changed their budgets, and they're going to address the challenges that arise from a decline in oil prices. The decline in those oil prices will not be massive and will not destroy those economies. In the case of Nigeria, the economy will grow at around 5% as a consequence of the decline in oil prices. It'll then pick up trend again.
Okay, so not tragic. We're running out of time, so I want to talk to you about something also not results related.
Yes.
But I think nobody's talking about the fact that the big four banks over the next few years are going to be struggling for survival because we have Cell phone operators, you can now pay with your phone. They can offer banking services. A whole lot of outlets can offer banking services. What is Standard Bank doing facing this very uncertain future?
We have about 16 billion rands on our balance sheet in the nature of the investment we are making in IT. And that investment is calculated to address precisely what you are saying. We are wanting to put ourselves in a position where people cannot stand between us and our clients, where we will improve the service to our clients and do so at a price acceptable to our clients, but at returns acceptable to our shareholders.
That was Standard Bank CEO Sim Tshabalala.